Thursday, Parshas Shlach Lechu Chuvov 7 Tuvshin Pai Vuv, June 11th, 2026. My name is Gershy Schwarcz and I'm your host with the news of the last 24 hours on Edge. Your daily report of the news of the last 24 hours, powered by Yiddish24, provided to you by The Click. Today is an extra special day to daven for Sharichim. I'll tell you at the end, and no, it's not an ad. Okay, breaking news. Just before we went on air, President Trump had threatened to bomb Iran tonight. Big time. But he cancelled it. He cancelled tonight's strikes on Iran. He says a deal has been approved. And the highest level of Iranian leadership has approved that too. And the signing is coming this weekend. We'll walk you through exactly what happened and what the deal actually is, if it is. Also, the Pentagon went on a lockdown this morning over a chemical scare, which turned out to be a false alarm. And Trump told his NATO allies to cut ties with a Chinese technology company, including Huawei. Now, New Jersey authorities stopped a planned ISIS terror attack targeting a shul. Those stories and way more coming up, but first, today's show is presented to you by Kosher Skinny Shot. Healthy living, healthy lifestyle, with real guidance every step of the way, with a little pinch. No pun intended. 845-456-8924. Again, the number is 845-456-8924. Stick around, and later I'll tell you how to win a free month. Partnered by On Edge. All right, let's start with the news. The Pentagon went into full lockdown this morning. Sensors inside the building detected a possible chemical danger in the air. Early reports say the system flagged possible anthrax. Floors 2 through 5 locked down and other floors were evacuated, and police inside wore gas masks and full protective gear. Workers were told to stay where they were while hazmat teams tested the air. A few hours later came the answer. It was a false alarm. Literally, a false alarm. Officials say a faulty sensor alarm set the whole thing off and the building is safe now. Was Iran involved? Who knows? Joking. Okay. The United States military launched another huge 4-hour bombing attack against Iran yesterday evening. Now, this is the second round of strikes ordered by Trump after an Iranian drone hit an American Apache helicopter. The Marine Corps and the Air Force and the Navy used smart bombs to hit military targets. They hit radar systems, drone command units, and naval bases belonging to Iran's IRGC. Now, Trump says this costed about $250 million. Before the attack, the US sent a message through Qatar, and they told Iran that the strikes were meant to apply pressure and not start a bigger war. That's because Trump had been waiting for almost 2 weeks for Iran's peace offer. Yesterday, we told you, Trump promised to hit Iran again, and that he said Iran keeps he said Iran keeps, in his words, tapping America along, playing with them basically. Then this morning, Trump announced that the US will again hit Iran very hard tonight. Yes, for the third time in a row. He added, at some point in the not too distant future, we will be taking the Karg Island and other oil infrastructure points and assume total control of their oil and gas markets, much like we have with Venezuela, which is working out brilliantly well for both Venezuela and the United States of America. Why Karg? Now, that island handles about 90% of Iran's oil exports, and analysts say whoever holds Karg Island holds the regime's wallet. Secretary of War Pete Hegseth also gave a similar statement. He explained, you can see when someone's trying to tap on a deal. Instead, they're going to have to tap, bombs dropping from the sky on key facilities in Iran from the United States of America. But then, just before we went on air, everything flipped, like I said. Trump announced he is cancelling tonight's strikes. He wrote, based on the fact that discussions with the Islamic Republic of Iran have been brought to the highest level of Iranian leadership and approved, I have, as President of the United States of America, cancelled the scheduled strikes and bombings against Iran this evening. He said, the final points of the deal have been approved, in his words, in both concept and great detail, by everyone involved. Now, the United States, he listed the countries, Israel, Saudi Arabia, the Emirates, Qatar, Turkey, Pakistan, Bahrain, and Kuwait, Jordan, and Egypt. The naval blockade stays in full force until the deal is signed. And at the same time, and the time and place of the signing, he says, will be announced shortly. But here is the thing. Iran has not confirmed any of it yet. Iran's state-linked Tasnim news agency answered coldly. Until any potential understanding is officially announced by Iran, any statements by Trump on this matter should be viewed or taken with a pinch of salt. In other words, like his previous claims. In plain words, Iran is saying he's announced deals before already. And they have a point, by the way, just giving them not the credit, but they have a point about the track record, because a CNBC, Trump's favorite media, joking, account that they made found Trump has said a deal was close more than 30 times in the past 3 months. But he never cancelled strikes mid-countdown before, and that part is new. He did, kind of, in a way, but yeah. And it's not just their news agency. Iran's Revolutionary Guard put out a statement saying no Iranian official has confirmed any agreement yet. And get this, even Israel was caught off guard. An Israeli official told I-24 News that Israeli officials are learning about these developments mostly from Trump's public truth social statements. And they're waiting for Iran's official answer before judging what's real and what isn't. The official added that experience has shown such announcements don't always turn into a finished deal. CNN goes even further. Netanyahu himself was reportedly caught by surprise. He was sitting in a security meeting about Iran when Trump's post went up. Israel, according to the Israeli source, never approved any agreement. And I want to remind you, Israel wasn't involved in the last 2 strikes. It was actually quiet on their front in terms of Iran. It wasn't quiet in Lebanon, but yes. And here is the key detail. CNN reports Trump's announcement was based on assurance from Pakistani mediators. American officials had not yet confirmed any deal directly with Tehran. Now, so the deal Trump announced may be a deal Pakistan promised him and not one Iran signed off on. So there we go. Then Trump added details in the Oval Office about this deal. He said the signing could happen this weekend in Europe, and he says he'd like it in Switzerland. He himself won't be there. Vice President J.D. Vance, Steve Witkoff, and Jared Kushner will represent America. And after catching everyone by surprise, Trump got on the phone, including with Netanyahu. Netanyahu's office then put out a statement. Israel is not a party to the agreement. This is between America and Iran, but Israel welcomed Trump's commitment to eliminate Iran's enriched uranium, its ability to enrich its missile program, and its support for terror groups across the region. In plain words, Israel is saying, it's your deal, but we're holding you to your promises. Trump says the documents are, in his words, in pretty final shape, and that the Strait of Hormuz reopens immediately when it's signed. And Trump explained why he believes this time it's different. He said Iran's leaders, in his words, have taken a pounding, and they want the deal a lot more than I do. And then he said something bigger. I really believe it's regime change, because they are a lot more rational. This is a different group, a smarter group, a group that has reason. Remember, this is a new leadership under Mujtaba Khamenei, who took over after his father was killed. Trump is saying openly, the war changed who runs Iran, and the new people can do business. And Iran is saying 2 things at once. Publicly, as we told you, the official line is nothing is approved. But Al Arabiya reports that a Qatari delegation that flew home from Tehran this morning was carrying Iran's approval of the final draft. So tonight, the bombs are cancelled. The blockade stays on. A table in Europe may be getting set for Shabbos. And the world waits to see who's telling the truth. And one more strange turn. Iran's semi-officials, Fars news agency says, Elon Musk's companies and assets in the region have been added to the official Iranian military target list. No words from Musk yet about this. Earlier before the big announcement, Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian brushed off the American warnings, calling the attacks a sign of desperation. Mohammad Mokber, who is the advisor of Iran's supreme leader, Mujtaba Khamenei, also replied, quote, Trump knows nothing but empty talk, and it has no effect on us. Iran will not retreat from its negotiating position one bit, he says. The 2 countries are actively exchanging messages, according to Reuters. The main focus of the current talks is the release of frozen Iranian funds. Trump says they are negotiating with us to make a deal, but they are proud. Too proud of themselves. Now, you might be asking, and it's a fair question, if Trump is bombing Iran, why is there a deal at all? What is his calculation? Now, why did he say first? Why would he be bombing Iran in the last 2 days? Suddenly, what happened, right? Everyone's asking this question. What suddenly changed? Here's a simple answer. I mean, it's not that simple, but simple in terms of the words that I can put, explain it to you. Now, Trump's deal, based on what he himself has posted, says Iran can never have a nuclear bomb. Iran's buried enriched uranium, about 900 pounds of it, gets dug up and destroyed, right? The Strait of Hormuz opens completely. No tolls, obviously the $2 million ships in both directions, and the talks right now are also about releasing Iran's frozen money. In exchange, America lifts the blockade that is choking Iran's economy. One thing to understand. What they're signing this weekend, is the first agreement, a framework. It stops the fighting. It opens the strait and buys both sides 60 days to negotiate the big final deal. The hardest part, actually digging up Iran's uranium and shutting down its nuclear program, gets settled in those 60 days. Now, that's exactly why Netanyahu said what he said. Sign your framework, but the final deal must finish the job, actually. So why the bombs? Okay, so Trump's team says it said it very openly. Hegseth said the strikes are not to restart the war. They said it before, so they are set to they are to set the terms of the deal. In plain words, every bomb makes Iran's signature cheaper and easier to get. Essentially, Iran's economy is locked. Its oil is trapped, and the bombing raises the price of saying no. Now, that's the calculation, and tonight's cancellation tells you Trump thinks it worked. Underwater, the IRGC claimed they closed the Strait of Hormuz, while, obviously, they said that all ships will now be targeted. The terror group claimed that they fired a missile that forced an American fighter jet to fly away, but the U.S. Central Command said, obviously with a fact check that they like to post, that those claims are entirely false. They confirmed that cargo ships are sailing normally and no American warships were hit. Just telling you what happened over the night, right? And remember, the secret oil mission we told you about yesterday, Project Freedom, where America quietly moved more than 100 million barrels of oil through the strait, like Trump said, he turned off the lights, right? While he did that. Today, that mission is a big part of why Trump is negotiating from strength with bombs. Now, the American military was clearly getting ready for more fighting. Obviously, the internal orders show elite soldiers from the 82nd Airborne Division were moved to Israel earlier in the month, obviously. An American B-52 bomber also recently flew out of Sicily now with its tracking signals turned on so the public could see it. In the Gulf of Oman, an American jet fired a smart missile into the engine room of an oil ship. And there is a sad update, though, because India is actually upset about it. India confirmed that the 3 sailors who went missing in that strike have been killed. In Yemen, Houthi forces warned that they might block the Bab al-Mandeb Strait, which is another major waterway. This conflict caused global oil prices to go up, but now, obviously, I'll tell you soon, the oil prices jumped down by 35% because of this new announcement. US inflation jumped by 4.2%. But Trump said, I love inflation. And when the war's over, it's coming down like a rock, he said. It's going to come down like a rock. Because Iran's affecting so many countries, 22 nations have signed a joint statement. This is why the deal happened, obviously. They demanded that the IRGC immediately stop carrying out terror attacks on their soil. The countries, which include the United States, the UK, Australia, condemned the Iranian government for targeting Jews. Yes, and Israelis and Israeli sites and anybody who opposes them. The document said that the terror group is using local criminal gangs in their countries. They're also connecting the two front groups they're connecting the new front groups to carry out terrorism in places like Sweden, Australia, and the UK. They have different proxies that they use, right? Now, U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said that Iran will have to pay for the damages it caused several countries. Bessent explained, quote, the Iranian regime will lose the zero-sum game it is playing. Any damage it inflicts on our allies in the Gulf will be paid for with funds extracted from Iranian frozen accounts. Any tolls paid to the Persian Gulf Strait Authority will be offset by the funds extracted from their accounts as well. Every attack Iran launches will only deepen the economic and financial consequences it faces. Let's talk about kosher skinny shot, shall we? And no, you don't have to be overweight for that. Here what this is really about. Balance. Waking up feeling refreshed, energetic, eating right, steady moods, and actually sticking to it, because they guide you every step of the way. Every single step of the way, real people checking up on you. Like a Zaidi, but with a small needle pinch. No pun intended. Sign up today at 845-456-8924. Again, the number is 845-456-8924. And because at On Edge we partnered with Kosher Skinny Shot, one lucky winner gets a free month. So call my number on 845-671-1775. Press 5. Again, the number is 845-671-1775. And you press 5. You leave me a message with your name and telephone number by saying Kosher Skinny Shot on Edge. In a very clear background, no noise, no honking. I heard today someone leave a message with honking. It was very hard to hear. I heard it, I wrote it down, but I'd rather you do it more clearly, because otherwise it will risk you not getting into the big hagrula which is happening. One disclaimer: compound medications are not FDA approved and require a doctor's prescription. For safety information, you can call and ask Kosher Skinny Shot and ask your own doctor, obviously. Israel and Turkey are now in an open war of words, and it got uglier today. It started when Turkish President Erdogan told his parliament that Israel's bombs on Lebanon and Syria now threaten Turkey itself. He said Turkey's security, quote, begins in Aleppo and in Damascus and in Beirut. Netanyahu hit back hard. He called Erdogan an anti-Semitic dictator who is committing genocide against the Kurds, supporting the Hamas terrorist organization, oppressing his own people and locking up his political rivals. And today, Erdogan answered. He said Netanyahu, in his words, is following the path of Hitler. He warned his fate will be like that of other tyrants in history. Trump asked about all of this and called Erdogan a friend. Well, the reporters who asked Trump about this called Erdogan a friend. And he said a war between Israel and Turkey will not happen while he is president, at least under his watch. A group of Qatari officials traveled to Tehran to discuss the ongoing conflict between the US and Iran yesterday. The visit came right after a night of heavy bombs. Iranian media reported the diplomats were there to discuss ways to stop the fighting. These meetings also follow a weekend where Iran and Israel fired at each other. As you remember, 30 missiles flew, right? However, the mission didn't last very long. The Qatari delegation returned home to Doha this morning, and as we told you in our top story, reports say that they may have been carrying Iran's approval of the deal with them, which caused this whole deterioration and the whole change in the news, obviously. The Israeli cabinet is getting ready to approve a funding plan for 61 new settlements in Judea and Samaria. In the West Bank, this plan will pay to build temporary communities right away. This will happen even while the planning stages are still ongoing. This proposal is scheduled to go to the full cabinet for a formal vote. The plan is worth nearly $350 million. And here is the interesting part. Housing Minister Yitzchak Goldknopf, the Haredi minister, is officially calling to include Haredi communities in these new towns. Now to the story every Heimische home is watching, and it is happening right now as we speak. Overnight, just before midnight, police finished transferring 17 yeshiva bucherim to military prison. These are the bucherim arrested at the protest outside the home of the Supreme Court Justice Noam Solberg. And today, right now, thousands from the Peleg Yerushalmi and the Eda Haredis are out protesting at key locations across central Israel. How did we get there? Well, two decisions. Justice Solberg ordered the state to step up arrests of bucherim who didn't report to the draft office. Then the police commissioner, Danny Levy, made a new rule. Every bucher the police detain, even at a traffic stop, gets handed straight to the military police. Since then, bucherim are being arrested night after night. Tuesday night was the third night in a row police used stun grenades on the crowds at Shar Binyamin and Kiryat Atta. And 3 more bucherim were handed to the military police. The Vaad HaHatzula, Le Hatzulas Oilem HaTorah, says protesters are being met with stun grenades, batons, knee strikes, and even severe violence. And now the Shabak, Israeli's security agency, is officially investigating the protest movement itself. In response, the Eda Haredis closed all of its kollalim. It declared that every individual is obligated to join the protests with Mesiras Nefesh at the prison gates. And here is where it gets painful, because the fighting is not only with the government, it's inside the Haredi world itself. Harav Yitzchak Yosef, the former Sephardic chief rabbi, said Wednesday night, "It's a great shame that the law regulating the status of yeshiva bucherim was not passed last month when Likud had already agreed to cooperate. We agreed, and others in the Haredi parties also opposed it. Maybe that's why we're seeing all these arrests." What law is he talking about? A law that would have given bucherim a legal status, official recognition. They belong in yeshiva and not the army. Shas and Degel HaTorah were ready to pass it, and the Hasidische party, Agudas Yisrael, said no, because the law also came with quotas and punishments if enlistment numbers weren't met. So no law passed. And with no law passed, every bocher today is officially a deserter in the eyes of the state. That's why they get arrested. One new development the Knesset gave. The Knesset gave first approval this week to a different bill, a different gazette, a basic law that says learning Torah is a service to the Jewish people. It has a long way to go before it even becomes a law. Something unusual is happening between Israel and Lebanon. They're talking to each other publicly. Netanyahu released a video message directly to the citizens of Lebanon. He told them, Israel is not at war with you. We're at war with Hezbollah. That has taken your country hostage. He called Hezbollah the only thing standing in the way of peace between the two countries. The same day, President Isaac Herzog sent a message in Arabic to Lebanon's President Aoun, in the first time an Israeli president has ever done that, offering what he called a hand of peace if Lebanon stands up to Iran. And Lebanon is answering. President Aoun told CNN, we are ready, we are willing, and we are committed. Are you? If you are, let's sit and talk. But he said he won't meet Netanyahu face-to-face until a deal is actually signed. Meanwhile, the fighting hasn't stopped. Israeli strikes on Hezbollah and weapon sites, the terrorists and the actual weapon sites in southern Lebanon killed 13 people yesterday. Direct talks between Israel and Lebanon, hosted by America, are expected to continue in Washington in the coming days. Protobite, 347-354-1237. The number is again 347-354-1237. Check out their website on proto-byte.com. And if you need to mention on Edge for a good deal, you have to design your software. You go on AI and you figure it out after a few years, and then you realize you didn't build anything. So that's why you need Protobite, 347-354-1237. Let's continue the news. There is finally a development in a tragedy that shook Yerushalayim 2.5 years ago. Back in January 2024, Emir Yeshiva Bocher Yitzchak Steinberger, 25 years old Bocher, was killed in his sleep when a freshly poured cement wall from a neighboring renovation collapsed onto his room between Mei Shurim and Beis Yisrael. This week, prosecutors finally charged the contractor, Iman Hamad, a 49-year-old Arab contractor from East Yerushalayim, with causing death by negligence. The indictment says he poured the entire cement wall at once, with no mold on one side, so all the weight rested on the old wall of the Bocherim's apartment until it actually collapsed. The owner of the property was cleared of all wrongdoing. A shul in New Jersey was the target of a planned terror attack by an ISIS supporter. 22-year-old Mohammed Sageh from Wayne, New Jersey, was arrested for the planned attack. He spent 3 months speaking with an undercover agent whom he thought was a part of the Islamic terror group. It was amazing from the American authorities to do this, obviously. During their chats, Sageh shared photos and videos of the targets. This included the shul and a National Guard location. In March, he also tried to travel to Syria to join the terrorists. The Justice Department says he bought a secure communications tool for the group, and he was hoping to help them hide their online activities. Sageh is now facing federal charges for aiding a foreign terror group. YS Capital Group. I'll tell you why. Because 718-831-2168, and they'll tell you the answer. You don't have to go to the bank when you can go to the man himself. Just borrow the money direct. 718-831-2168. Trump is calling on Republicans in U.S. Congress to immediately advance and pass the $350 billion Reconciliation Bill and Save America Act. He emphasized, quote, no games, no delays, and no weak compromises. Do this as soon as possible. The Reconciliation Bill will give the U.S. military the full $1.5 trillion budget for Trump's arsenal of freedom. Trump also explained, we will defend the homeland with the Golden Dome, launch the unstoppable Golden Fleet, dominate the skies with the F-47 and the B-21, and supercharge our ammunition stockpiles and achieve total Space Force and drone dominance. And on the other hand, the Save America Act will protect elections for generations to come, according to Trump. But Republicans in Congress are split on the Save America Act, and so far they have not moved. One thing did get done. Yesterday, Trump signed the Secure America Act, the $70 billion law funding ICE and Border Patrol, which we told you about. As we told you yesterday, the State Department announced that they will end illegal birth tourism programs. Now, this will prevent any foreigner from getting a visitor visa to give birth in the U.S. With Trump's go signal, this rule will defend the integrity of the U.S. citizenship. Public financial reports show that the U.S. Representative Ilhan Omar lost a reported $29 million. Her total wealth went from millions of dollars down to under $100,000. Because of this massive drop, Republicans are asking for an official review of her finances. They are also looking at her connection to a fraud scandal from the pandemic. The Minnesota Democrat denied the accusations about her financial records, and she stated that the Ethics Committee is not investigating her. Stephen Ogilvy, the man attacked in Belfast, has now lost his left eye entirely, and he is now blind in his right eye as well. Yesterday we reported that he was stabbed and injured in the neck very badly. The attacker was a Sudanese asylum seeker named Hadi Alodid. Alodid, and other Sudanese asylum seekers recently traveled to Europe to escape a civil war in Sudan, right? They claimed asylum. When they moved into a neighboring apartment, Ogilvy actually helped them find the apartment. Then after 4 days, Alodid attacked him, though the reason is still unclear. Reports also said that Alodid went to the hospital to get treated for a hand injury, and there he told hospital staff that he had killed someone, and then he threatened to kill the medical workers too. This attack sparked riots across Northern Ireland, which have continued to 2 straight nights in a row. Now, a quick one from Colombia. President Gustavo Petro, one of the biggest Israeli haters of any world leader, is in trouble. Lawmakers are moving to suspend him from his job because he refuses to accept his country's election result, which his side has lost. The man who won the first round, Abelardo de la Espriella, is a friend of Trump. And the final round of voting is June 21st, and if he wins, the Israel hater is replaced with this friend who likes Israel. Arrive Express 845-622-1111, 845-254-1111. When you know you need a taxi, now it's the summer, you want to go places, Arrive Express is at your service. They're everywhere. They have a large fleet of taxis all over the entire upstate region. For the first time, Taiwan fired US-supplied HIMARS rocket launchers into Taiwan Strait. The HIMARS of High Mobility Artillery Rocket System, now what it means here, right, is a US-made multiple rocket launcher. It is known for its shoot and scoot capability, which allows it to fire and rapidly change direction before the enemy can even respond. Taiwan launched 32 of these test rockets near potential Chinese landing zone. Its full HIMARS weapon included longer-range missiles which can strike targets on mainland China. China's very upset about it. Here is a story with a twist. Chinese agents used ChatGPT to run a campaign against America. And the company behind ChatGPT is the one who caught them, obviously. OpenAI discovered a network of fake accounts built with its own tool, working to turn Americans against artificial intelligence data centers. This company stated these actors used fake accounts to spread Chinese views and control public debates. The accounts specifically tried to make people worry more about energy prices and tariffs. Republican lawmakers now want the whole anti-data center movement investigated as a Chinese influence operation. At the same time, Trump's administration is telling NATO allies to stop using Chinese technology. This includes the Chinese company Huawei, which is already banned from American systems. As you remember, we read it. And before we go, something from the world of science, published just today. That sounds like a joke, but it's real research. Scientists discovered that plain rice, yes, rice, the same rice in your kitchen behaves backwards from almost everything in the world. Think about water. If you move your hand through water slowly, it's easy, right? The water moves out of the way. But if you smack the water fast, like, have you ever done that? Like a belly flop in the pool, it hurts, right? It hurts a lot, actually. It actually hurts the hand. Try and slap the water very hard as well. So that's how most things work. Slow is soft, fast is hard. Rice is the exact opposite, they figured. Press rice very slowly, and the little grains lock together and hold firm like a solid block. That's what happens. Unbelievable. Anyone who ever tried digging into a scoop full of a full container of rice knows this. But hit it fast with the scoop. Try put the scoop very fast in, and the grains let go and slide apart. It gives way. It's amazing. Slow is strong, fast is soft. Backwards from everything else. So why do we care? Okay. Engineers are now copying the rice trick to build new materials Well, imagine a helmet or a car, right? A car part that goes soft in a sudden crash to absorb the hit, but stands rock solid, holding steady weight all day long because, anything soft touches it, it's hard. The cheapest thing in your pantry just taught the engineers something new, maybe expensive. And talking about expensive and new, the click613.com. Now, here's the thing with the SMS story. I'll tell you what happens. First of all, you can always reach the click on 848-480-8677 if you have access to WhatsApp. If you don't have access to WhatsApp and you want to join the SMS program, he has it. It's set up. The problem is he had to stop it because it was costing close to $100 a day. Mean to say, because of 10,000 messages a day, it costs money. He's looking for a sponsor. He's doing this out of goodwill of his heart, the one who set this up. It has the information, literally, it has a ton of information already on it. You can find any minyan you want in the entire, minyanim everywhere. Kosher food, zmanim, anywhere in the world. It's an amazing bot. It works. So if you want to be a sponsor, and your name will be the featured, you are welcome to call him. You can call my number if you want, 845-671-1775. And press 5. Leave me a message. Say the name, click 613, that you would like to be a sponsor, and maybe we can help you, get connected. And maybe you can figure this out. But whatever, I know it's costly, and that's why he actually had to stop it. So, for now, it's only available on WhatsApp, 848-480-8677. And we can't finish today without mentioning, obviously, what I said before, a special about today's day. What's so special about today? Today is the 26th day of Sivan, Chov of Sivan. The Yutzad of the Holy Tana, Rabbi Yonis ben Azil. The Gemara says he was the greatest, one of the greatest of Hillel Azaken's 80 Talmidim. So holy that when he learned Torah, a bird flying over his head would burn from the fire of his learning. Today, thousands upon thousands are streaming to his kaiva in Amuka. You know Amuka? In the hills of Nitzvas, because the world knows Amuka is the place to daven for a shidduch. So, if you know someone waiting for their shidduch, their zivik, today is the day to daven. Have them in mind. Light a candle in his name, Yonis ben Azil, and may we hear Basilas Toivus on Edge. Stay informed and stay on Edge, and we'll see each other, Mitzvah, tomorrow.
Your daily report of the news of the last 24 hours, powered by Yiddish24, provided to you by The Click.